Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember being 17? The first day of college, dreams, hopes, career aspirations? For many of us, it may also be the first time we lived away from home. We dealt with the new world on our own and we made new friends. The college and hostel became our home and our family. Unfortunately, not so for a 17-year-old student at Jadavpur University in Kolkata. He was allegedly harassed by his seniors, tortured at the hostel. He died after a fatal fall. His body barely had any clothes on it. Today, hundreds of students at Jadavpur University protested over his death. The Kolkata police says he was subjected to intense ragging in the hours before he died. Reports say the police have told a judge hearing the case that the student faced at least 120 minutes of ragging inside a hostel room of the university. They have told the judge that they have on-record statements explaining the kind of torture this first-year Bengali honours student went through last Wednesday. That was just a few hours before his death. Ladies and gentlemen, when was the last time you heard of any incident of ragging anywhere in India, leave alone a prestigious institute like Jadavpur University? The NHRC has written to the registrar of the university and the West Bengal government over the reported death of this student because of ragging. Let's take you back to the beginning. A first-year student, not yet 18, joins Jadavpur University's Bengali undergrad course. He belongs to Nadia and he takes up a hostel room. The boys' hostel of the university is right across the road from the campus and right next to the Jadavpur police station. Within 2 days, he frantically calls his mother, asking her to come over. The distraught parents didn't get time to react. They received a call about his fall from the second floor of the hostel within hours of their son's call. The parents and other hostlers have told the police that the student had been a victim of ragging. One of the students even posted on Facebook. Bengal Governor C.V. Ananda Bose, who is also the Chancellor of the university, visited the hostel and assured the father of stern action against those responsible for his son's death. So far, 3 students have been arrested. It turns out that the main accused, Saurav Chaudhary, continued staying at the main hostel despite the fact that he graduated last year. Deep Shekhar Dutt, a second-year economics student, and Manotosh Ghosh, a second-year sociology student, have also been arrested over their alleged role in this incident. Some more students have been called in for questioning. In fact, a PIL has been filed in the Calcutta High Court over the incident. The plea alleges that the anti-ragging rules enforced by the UGC are not implemented even at the bare minimum level at campuses of state universities in West Bengal. Let me go across to my guests who are joining us this evening. Professor Rajendra Kachru is founder of the Aman movement. Geetanjali Kumar is a psychologist and Nayan Parekh is an educationist. They're joining us on the broadcast. Professor Rajendra Kachru, the UGC has very, very clear guidelines as far as ragging in campuses is concerned. In fact, for the last many years, I don't remember hearing an incident of ragging. Otherwise, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, ragging regularly used to be in the headlines. In the last 5-6 years, we haven't heard of it till the Jadavpur University incident happens. My question to you is, why, despite these very stringent guidelines, are we still seeing incidents of what happened at Jadavpur University?
It's very unfortunate. First, I feel very sad for the parents of the child, and like many other parents whose children die. This year only, I have heard about, this is the 3rd case I'm hearing this year, or maybe more. We had regulations in 2009. What we called a National Ragging Prevention Program was set up. The government at that time was very serious. From 2012 until 2022, for a whole decade, a lot of work was done in reduction of ragging. And last survey we did, we reduced ragging from 40% roughly to 5%. That was 2 years ago. But after that, this program collapsed. So we don't have any more ragging prevention program working. It has been taken over by the bureaucracy and the corruption and petty corruption, in my opinion. So as of now, my only advice to parents of children who are in universities is to be very, very careful. Like this boy had already talked to his mother, they should have left everything and come to help him. Because most parents believe that when we put our children in universities, we trust the university authorities, and we believe that the university authorities and the government of India or UGC is serious about it. But that's not the case. That's a mistake. They have to be very careful. They have to understand that it's your child who is getting hurt or killed or injured or psychologically damaged for another 30 years. So they must watch out on every sign. As far as UGC's regulation is, UGC worked very nicely. Government of India, Ministry of Education, put a lot of effort in it for 10 years. But after that, for the last 2 years, no. It has collapsed for purely small corruption.
Professor Kachru,
And
okay.
Nobody seems to worry about it.
I don't know how many people remember, Professor Kachru. I don't know how many people remember, but you lost your 19-year-old son, Aman, to ragging. He was a medical student, I remember. You know, for parents who are watching, in this case, he called the parents. Yes. He was barely in college for 3 days, Professor Kachru. This is the beginning of the session. He called his mother and said, "Take me home."
Yes.
The next thing you know, a few hours later, the parents get a call saying your son is dead. He's jumped off the second floor with barely a stitch of cloth over his body.
You see, you have to understand that in 2009, the ragging was very prevalent, particularly in Jadavpur University, Bengal Engineering College. There was a college in Bhopal. There were a list of colleges where it was brutal. But Jadavpur University, ragging in Jadavpur University had stopped. It has come back. Why has it come back? Because the monitoring has stopped. Nobody cares about it anymore. I am very, very responsibly saying this. For the last 3 years, ragging prevention program has been completely killed and abolished. So when that happens, when the ministry and UGC and the regulatory authorities do not worry, this is going to happen. So that's why parents have to take care of their children.
Nayan Parekh, where was the monitoring? As I said, the session has just opened. Universities know what happened inside hostel rooms. It's no secret. In the last 48 hours, newspapers in Calcutta have been filled with alumni there writing about how, no one should be surprised at what has happened at Jadavpur University. It happens all the time. Here's my point. Where's the monitoring? You know the session is beginning. You know that there are freshers going to come into campus. You know the seniors are going to get hold of them and drag them. At least have monitoring for the first 10 days. This incident has happened exactly on the 3rd day of the student joining the university.
Like this happens, something dies in all of us. I think our heart reaches out to people who have lost their son. And as you're rightly saying, how do we take care of it? How do we start monitoring it? This is kind of beginning, and actually ragging happens when the session begins. And then kind of things settle down. But first few days, and we have seen it in some of the films like Three Idiots, we have seen it at various places. I think we need to be very, very serious about this. And it needs to happen at all the levels. Universities need to be very serious about it, which means that first 1 month, they need to look for all the signs, not only professors and committees, but non-academic staff who are in the hostel would know it. There is no way that the non-teaching staff, rector who's in charge of the hostel would not know about this. And I think that we need to create serious checks and balances for them, which means that at least in the beginning and the first month, how the principal or somebody who's responsible needs to take stock of situation every day. How do we create a situation where every junior is assigned a buddy, say, who is 1 or 2 years senior to him, so that he can relate to him? It is responsibility of that senior guy who would take care of this child, because at times children are not able to talk to their parents. At times principal or senior people are just not the people that these young boys, innocent boys, can reach out to. So we need to provide arrangement in the hostel as to senior guys who are responsible for this, and how do we make them pairs. In new organizations, we have systems of buddies where they take care of it. So I think we need to work at multiple level. Principal needs to be responsible, faculty needs to be kind of in charge for this, and there has to be a mentor faculty, there has to be a senior buddy, there has
Mr. Parekh,
to
the
be
fact is,
non-teaching
it's
staff
not
who needs
like
to be responsible.
it's not like the faculty was not sounded out. Mr. Parekh,
Yes,
the unfortunate part is that it's not like the faculty was not sounded out. There was actually a call that was made to the faculty, and the person in charge says he went to the ground floor, he didn't find anything unusual, he didn't go to the second floor, and he came back. Now, if a call is being made to you that there could be a student in distress, you just cut to a chakkar of the ground floor and you don't go to the second floor because you have to climb stairs, and you come back.
Bilkul.
What is the
I
result?
feel
You didn't
exactly.
monitor. And after a few hours you have a student who is dead, and there are massive protests at the Jadavpur University. But Geetanjali Kumar, one of the students, take a look at the profile of students who've been arrested. There are two students who are just a year older to this young man. They are in the second year. There is one student who has already graduated from university, but again, he's a young man. These are young people. Geetanjali, this question was for you. I mean, why would young people do this to fellow young people who are just entering university or college? And mostly it happens when, students are coming, say, from a place like Nadia to Calcutta. They are in any case not confident about what they are doing, and then they have to go through something like this. It usually happens. This is what usually happens in hostels. You get ragged if you're coming from smaller places. You get ragged if you're coming from disadvantaged backgrounds. I'm just trying to ask you the psychology behind ragging. Why would a young person put someone who's an 18-year-old through such a degree of torture that he or she jumps off the second floor and commits suicide?
I am really genuinely pained. Believe me, it's a very, very serious and a sad incident that has taken place. And I remember the time when I did a show many years ago with Mr. Kachru when he lost his son. And the reason was same then and the same now, that our young children are acting like bullies and they somehow derive pleasure at the expense of the other child. Somewhere the compassionate connect between the social connect, which had the threads of compassion and empathy, is missing in our young students. So our youngsters are not able to relate to the pain that they cause for their own pleasure. This missing factor continues all through their school days, and in the college also. It is cheap fun thrill which they are deriving, the sense of helplessness which that victim is experiencing, is that what gives them the thrill and the kick. It is actually like an addiction to them. It's actually the high which they get at the pain of the junior student, which is what you are talking about. Somewhere close net connections, which will tight monitoring beforehand, preparation of the system, entire mechanism of the university, college, hostel. The task force has to be set up. The DSW, the proctor, the warden, the senior volunteers, everybody had to gear up to create a family. In a 2 hours time, the situation changes. The indication of fear which that young person communicated, nobody was aware that the fear will end like this. So the university, the college mechanism had definitely any place and every place will have to be so alert, will have to be so vigilant. A clear miss, the identified students or the vulnerable students in terms of who can behave like this. Somewhere we'll have to make a note of our senior hostel mates also, na?
Yeah. It's a
Why
clear
it happens,
miss.
I've explained,
And
I have
while
narrated.
the three students may have ragged this young man, the fact is that an entire system has failed
Yes,
him and killed him. That
definitely.
is the fact. Jadavpur University has to take the blame as well. There are 3 students who have been arrested, but the Jadavpur University and its administration has to take blame as well. They cannot get away by saying, "हमें नहीं पता था क्या हो रहा है." We went and checked, we didn't find anything abnormal.
हमें
Students
ध्यान
talk.
रखना होगा ना.
People know exactly what is happening in hostel rooms. The Jadavpur University should have known. They failed this young student. We leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much, Geetanjali, Dr. Geetanjali, for joining us. Professor Kachru, thank you very much. And thank you very much to Nayan Parekh for joining us as well. We are shifting our focus now